Hey everybody, my name is Corrado, and in this video we're going to talk about what type of properties that you should be investing in. So for those of you that don't know, I am a real estate broker here in Toronto, Canada, and I happen to work with a lot of investors that look to buy investment properties. And there's three things that these investors normally look for: the price of the property, the location of the property, and if the property will cash flow. A lot of these people that are buying these investment properties are buying them to lease them out. They're not buying them to move in themselves. They're not end users. So my job is to help them find the properties and also to look at comparables and see how much the properties around them, I'm comparing apples to apples. For example, if they bought a one-bedroom condo in downtown Toronto, I'm gonna have to look at, maybe the same building and how much that one-bedroom condo on, 3 floors below or 3 floors above, whatever it is rented for. That's how, I'll do the comparables. And then they're gonna calculate, okay, so here are my expenses. They got the taxes, they have their insurance, their mortgage payments, right? The maintenance. And I'm not just talking about condos, I'm talking about other properties as well, right? As long as the rent covers all the expenses, whatever is left over is their cash flow, it's a good investment. Here in Toronto, Canada, because prices are really expensive compared to a lot of other parts of the world, right? If a property is cash flowing, they're happy, it's a good investment, and long-term, it can make you a lot of money. All right, so that example that I just gave you on cash flow is based on 20% down on a property. So let's go over some reasons why investors prefer to buy condos here in Toronto. Here's an example why a lot of investors prefer to invest in condos. Now let's use downtown Toronto again as an example. There's some condos that are valued at like $500,000, $600,000 that are renting for the same, if not almost the same, as a $1 million property. A lot more people that wanted to invest their money in real estate back in 2017. Like, let's say somebody that was approved for like $800,000. Now automatically, once they announced the stress test late 2017, they're only approved for like $500,000, $600,000. So if they wanted to invest in great locations like Toronto, close to subway stations, they had no choice but to invest in condos. From my personal experience, I've been able to rent out some of these condos much faster than a townhouse, a semi, or a detached property simply because of convenience. See, some of these condos are located like literally across the street from the subway. Some of them have direct access to the path. Some of them have a lot of amenities like a concierge. They got a pool, they got a gym, they got a theater room, they have a party room. And some people don't want to drive to work and they would rather live in a condo so they can walk to their work or take the subway. I've been fortunate because a lot of these condos that I've been renting, I've been able to find amazing tenants that have great credit, they have great jobs, and it's important to find good tenants for your properties because tenants do have a lot of rights, right? And finding good tenants is important because they're almost part of your life. When you're renting out one of your investments to someone, if they're not paying, right, it can affect you financially, right? So a lot of people like investing in condos because, they have other condos or they heard from their friends or people that own condos that, it's easier to find better tenants, especially if the condos are located in great locations. And another important thing is that there's not a lot of maintenance involved owning a condo. Like, you don't have to shovel snow, you don't have to cut grass, and that's a huge advantage because there's not a lot of maintenance required. A lot of people buy condo assignments. What an assignment is it will allow you to sell the unit before you close. So let's say you bought a condo 3 years back, right? And you don't want to close on the condo. There's another opportunity you found, or you just want to take your money and invest it somewhere else, right? So let's say your condo appreciated by $200,000. All right, so the purchaser now is gonna come in and say, okay, so I'm gonna pay all your deposits, plus you want this $200,000. Normally, assignments are gonna be a little bit less than what resale's selling for because the purchaser is gonna have to put down more than 20% to buy the assignment from you. So if you want, for example, your deposits and your appreciation up front, the purchaser is gonna get a better deal, right? That's normally how it works. In some cases, some people will give you your deposits plus, let's say, again, appreciated by $200,000, they'll give you $100,000 when they sign the agreement, and then after the $100,000 when they close on the condo. My condo investment strategy has always been to buy pre-construction, close on the unit, keep it minimum 3 to 5 years. Then at that time, I'll go over the numbers and I'll figure out, should I refinance it? Should I sell it? And then buy more properties? But that's worked for me. So some people don't agree with it. Some people like to buy houses. Some people like to buy, I don't know, commercial properties. But everybody has their own formula. But what I normally like to do is figure out what works in that particular location, that city. Like, let me give you an example. My goal is to has always been to buy multifamily properties. But if you're looking at multifamily properties in downtown Toronto, even in the GTA, just the numbers don't make sense. You could put down 20%. Some properties, are selling for, some multifamily properties sell for like $5 million, $6 million, $10 million. You put down 20%, you're still gonna have to put in your own money out of your own pocket. And those type of investments don't make sense for me. I wanna buy stuff that's gonna make me money, not properties that I'm gonna have to keep putting in money myself, right? The whole point is to keep growing, right? So for me, buying these condos, buying new pre-construction, closing on them, keeping them for minimum 3 to 5 years, I've been doing very well with that, and I'm gonna continue doing that until I accumulate enough money to buy multifamily properties. And let's say Toronto doesn't make sense. You actually need a big down payment in order for you to cash flow. So maybe I'll go to the US, maybe I'll go somewhere like Florida, and I'll look for some multifamily properties there because the price points are not as expensive as here in Toronto. I want to quickly talk about towns, semis, and detached properties. If you go on the MLS today and you're looking for one of these type of properties, it's going to be very difficult to find a property that will cash flow or a property that you can buy, fix, and flip, right? I get a lot of clients that want to buy like a detached home or a semi because they want to live in it and they want to rent out the basement, for example, right? They're like, you know what, I need a property to live in, but I want a little bit of rent from the basement. So what my parents used to do is they would buy a property, like a detached home that had a legal basement apartment. Now, these properties are hard to find. I remember 10 years old, actually, going out, putting out the ads on the Toronto Star and the Toronto Sun for my dad and finding tenants. Actually reached out to the tenants, see if you can make a video about it. It'd be cool to have. But yeah, like these are great opportunities to do that. Like if you're looking to live in a property, in a house, for example, and you want some income from the basement, that's how my parents made it. My parents would have been able to live in a property like that if they weren't able to get income from the basement. So this is a great opportunity for you, and be creative with these deals. Like a lot of these properties that are out there are not on the MLS that people want to sell. Like there's a lot of properties that you can get for a really good deal. You need to be creative. Let me give you an example. My brother, he severs lots. He is experienced. You need a little bit more money up front in order to do this, but there's a lot of great opportunities out there. Like sometimes people will sell a property and you can actually go to the city, do your due diligence, and sever the lot. And when you sever the lot, you basically have to sever it and you could just sell it like that, right? And you could do very well doing that as well. So it's all about being creative and going out there and finding deals. The first property that I purchased was in Florida. I'll put the link of the video so you guys can check it out and you can see the first property that I bought. It was $198,000. I was renting it out for about $2,000 a month. So annually, I was getting about $24,000 in rent, and my annual expenses was approximately $10,000. That included the HOA fees, taxes, maintenance and repair, insurance. So I was left with about $14,000. And when I sold it 3 years later, I actually doubled my money. It was a great investment. My point here is that if you go out and look for opportunities, they're there. You just have to go out, and you know what? If it doesn't make sense in your area, like Toronto, properties are very expensive in Toronto, right? It's hard to find a property that will cash flow. Believe me, There are opportunities out there. You just have to go out and find them. But don't be afraid to go out to different places. Like, do the numbers, calculate all your numbers, make sure that it makes sense, and don't be afraid to invest. I know that there's a lot going on in the world today. People are afraid. Nobody knows what's gonna happen. But if you've always wanted to invest in real estate, now's a great time to put yourself in a position for opportunities. I believe that I'm not Nostradamus, or I don't have a crystal ball, but I believe in the next 6 months, there's gonna be opportunities out there, right? There could be opportunities in the next month. Properties that are selling maybe 20% below market value, right? Even if they sell 20% below market value, it's still an opportunity, right? Let's say they go down, property will go down to 30%, right? It'll eventually bounce back up and go back to where it was, right? It may not take a year, 2 years, it may take 5, right? But if you have the long-term vision to invest in real estate and you have the money where it's not going to change your lifestyle, then, put yourself in that position, talk to a mortgage broker, go to your bank, call your bank if you can't go there in person. Just figure out a way to set yourself up for some opportunities if you want to invest in real estate, because now I really do believe that there are going to be some opportunities out there. And the whole point of this video is that, if you live in a city and buying a single detached home, a townhouse, or a semi doesn't make sense, then maybe look for commercial, or look for a condo, or look for multifamily. Like, I want to buy multifamily, but multifamily doesn't make sense to buy in Toronto. It makes sense to buy in other places like Florida, right? So every area, there are opportunities, and you just have to go and figure out what the opportunities are, and you can make a lot of money in real estate if you're creative. I hope you guys like this video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like this video so YouTube shares it to more people. That would mean the world to me, and have a great one. Adios. Hey guys, it's Corrado. If you want to watch more videos, just click over here. If you want to subscribe, which that would make me really happy, just click over here. Have you subscribed yet? I need an espresso.